Welcome to my 12 days of sewing Christmas gifts to give. Today is day 8 and we are going to be sewing some composition notebook journal covers. Super fun. All right, this one has a lot of steps in it. It was requested from a friend of mine. I made her one a few months ago and I'm trying to reproduce it so that she can use it as a tutorial to make gifts for her Bible study group. Let's get sewing.
Let me go over what you are going to need as far as the fabric cuts go. Out of my main fabric, this is going to be on the outside front. This is 13 by 10 3/4. You can cut it 13 by 11 just to give yourself a little bit of breathing room when we go to quilt it down. This is another out of the main fabric, but you could use something else. This is 16 1/2 by, I'm gonna go with 10 3/4, but if you wanted to go 11 for now, we can trim it down later, that's fine, but I think 10 3/4 is gonna be sufficient. This is gonna be my lining though. You can use something that you have that really, I have muslin. This is muslin, but I'm just gonna use that for now because I'm just trying to get this one done. All right. Out of that main fabric, you're also going to need to have 2 pieces that go for your slip pockets to slip your notebook covers into. These are 5 by 10 3/4. 5 by 10 3/4. You're going to need to have lining for those. This is also 5 by 10 3/4. This will not be seen, so you can use anything in there. All right. For your slip pockets, you're also going to need some interfacing that is 4 1/2 by 10 1/4. All right. I am going to be piecing together one of these. Oh no, I don't have to. They're good. Yay. All right. So that's going to be for your slip pockets. Let me put that aside. You're also going to need a piece for your front panel that goes along with that little short one that we have here. We're going to build this front panel so that we have a pocket. So this piece is 4 1/4 by, go with 11 or 10 3/4, whatever you're cutting your pieces at. Let me see what I have mine. I think I have them cut at 11 right now because I can trim it down. All right, so go 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And then you're going to have another piece that is going to be 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And that's going to become your pocket on the front. And we'll sew these together to make the whole piece 16 1/2. Inside your pocket, after you fold that in half and press it, you're going to need a piece of interfacing that is at least 5 inches. We need it mainly for the top part of the pocket to clip pens onto. So I'm going to build this with a couple of scrap pieces and it's going to be just fine. We got this. So that takes care, oh, I'll put that up higher though, up there and let it hang. I think I have one that's the right size. Oh my gosh. All right, there we go. So that takes care of your fabric cuts for your notebook cover, but we have 2 more pieces, or actually one more piece. One more piece is the fleece. You will need the fleece cut and cut this at 16 1/2. This is Fusible Fleece, 16 1/2 by 11 for now. It's going to be 3/4 in the end. It looks like I got this 3/4. We're going to just go with it. 10 3/4. That's what we're going to trim everything down to, with our seam allowance being 1/4 inch around, and it gives us a little breathing room. All right, everything's cut. Now we're ready to get busy. You're going to get the ironing done first. Like I said, you're going to fold this one in half and press him down. And then after he's pressed, we're going to slip that little piece of interfacing in there. For the side slip pockets, we need to get the interfacing on those. So go ahead and turn them to the back side, because that's where we're going to adhere it. And Fusible interfacing, the side that's a little rough, that's going to be centered right on these pieces here. And we'll get them all ironed down. Oh, this one's a little bit too long. I got to trim him. All right, go ahead and get this ironed, get this ironed, and then this might have, no, I don't know where my little piece of interfacing went, but I'll get those tucked in here up to the crease line. I'll come back to that. All right, I already have the interfacing on these 2 pieces adhered. Figure out which side you want right side up, because that's going to be important. Now we're going to iron down this in half. I had it all lined up. And then we're going to take those little pieces that I had, because I'm going to piece them together. And we're going to just put this one up in here. And I'm going to take the other one up in here, rough side down, the blue dots down. And I have a little tear right here, but that's going to be minimal on this. Oops, let me get that there. Get that in there. There we go. I'm going to fold that back down, and then we're going to press to get that to stick. All right, ready to do a little bit of sewing. We're going to start off with this. The inner facing is pressed in there. It's all the way up to the top. You're going to make that nice and crisp. And we are going to widen our stitch length to 3.5 because it looks nice that way. And we're going to come across the top edge of this at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, straight across there. We're also going to assemble these two pieces. The line. Make sure you know which side you're going to want up. So if this is the notebook and you're looking at it, decide how you want your flowers to go, or cactuses or tacos, whatever you're making there. And I'm just going to leave it like this for now. And then I'm going to come over those with these lining pieces that we have. And I'll show you where we're going to stitch on this. So here I got my lining pieces right on top of that, and that's how I want them to be in the notebook. So I'm going to stitch, I'm going to pin this, and then I'm going to stitch down the side here at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, back stitch at the beginning and back stitch at the end, and this side as well. These are the inside ones, and we're going to be folding them. We're going to turn them around. So let's get the sewing done. We have this little piece to do and these two sides to do. I've got my stitching done, and now we're going to press open these seams. I'm going to put the little pocket, the pink pocket, off to the side. And I like to press these open so that I can get a nice, good fold when I reverse this fold. So go ahead, you can use your iron to help you out and do that on both of them, and we'll come back. All right, I have them both pressed open, and now I'm going to fold them. I want to fold them so that I don't really see the beige hair. And then I'm going to pin it. I'm going to give it a little press too. Oh, that looks nice. Do the same thing to the other side. And then I'm going to pin it. We're going to pin those down just to hold them so they don't roll anymore. And we're going to stitch 1/8 of an inch all the way down. Just to make a nice top stitch. You can lengthen your stitch for that as well. To 3.5, looks really nice. Always remember to put it back. I sometimes forget. All right, I have my top stitching done on that. I'm going to just zoom in so you guys can see that top stitching a little bit. It gives a nice finished look. A lot of times people do it with just one single layer, and they turn it in like a 1/2 inch, and then they fold it into that crease after they've ironed that 1/2 inch. But I'm trying to reproduce one that I made for my friend that she loves, and she wants to create some for her Bible study group, and so I'm trying to come up with the right measurements, and so bear with me. If you notice, I need to trim these. I need to make sure they're both at 10 inches by, I'm just going to go 10.5 because that's what I'm going to be trimming these down to, and I don't have to worry about quilting with these. So just after I'll have all this done, go ahead and trim them down to make sure they're 10.5 inches long. All right, I retrimmed them all down to 10.5 inches long. There's a little bit here, but we're going to catch that in our seam allowance, so I'm going to be good there. I was talking about that, about out of frame. So let's put those aside. We won't need them until the end. Let's go ahead and start building our pocket. With our pocket, we're just about finished with it, but we already did our top stitch there across the top, and I'll trim that thread here. But I am just going to line it up at the bottom here, and I'm going to just do 1/8 of an inch down along the side. I don't want to do 1/4 of an inch on each side because I don't want that seam to show later on when I put them together. So go ahead and take that chain machine, line it up here, pin it, clip it, whatever you need to do. So, and then sew 1/8 of an inch down. This is just going to hold this in place so it doesn't start shifting around. All right, I already got it stitched down each side, just to hold it in place. It was a wider stitch and everything. This is already at 10.5. I was going to tell you if yours is at 11 or something, just trim it so it's 10.5, but trim off of this end. You don't want to trim your pocket. We like to have that nice deep pocket there. All right, we're ready to put this together with the other side of the panel. All right, here is the other part of our front panel. This was, I think it was 12 3/4. Let me check here. 12 3/4, yes. I have it by 11, okay? So this is going to be a little bit shorter on that. So line it up. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go with the 10.5 right now. I'm going to trim that so it doesn't mess us all up. one of the reasons why I have a couple of different measurements in my mind is because I used quilting batting, which was too thick, and I had to change the measure. I made 2 of them, and then the third one finally came out. I'm trying this with fleece now, Fusible Fleece. It won't be as thick. All right, we have that trimmed down, 10.5. Figure out which side you want up. I kind of like my leaves going up like that. And I'm going to take this, and we are just going to sew this on this side at 1/4 inch. Make sure you make your stitch a little bit smaller if you made it wider for the top stitching. So I'm going to pin this. I'm going to take it over. I'm going to do 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down. I'm going to start and back stitch, and I'm going to back stitch at the end just to lock those stitches in. All right, see you back when that's done. All right, so we have this sewn. Now we're going to press it. I want to press it so that my seam goes towards the main fabric. So I'm just going to do that really quick. Oh, living dangerously doing that on my board here. And I'm going to pull this over. And I want it to go in that direction so I can feel the seam underneath here. And we're going to be doing a nice little top stitch on here. So, living dangerously here. Okay, there we go. All right, so now you can take that back over to your machine and do 1/8 inch top stitch. Do that wider stitch, like 3.5, like the one we did here, and look really nice along there. Right, the top stitch is done, and now we're gonna get set to fuse. I'm gonna use my little felt mat here to fuse on the Fusible Fleece. So turn it over to the back, and I probably should have just checked my measurement. I just want to be careful because I'm all off with my measurements. It looks like I have 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and a half. Perfect, yes. Okay. And rather than wasting my Fusible Fit Fleece. All right, let me get that. And we are going to iron this on. And if it's a little big, just get it so that it's around the edges here. Be careful, like I have to be careful when I get to the edge here. So I'm gonna just kind of start with the middle here. And then I'm gonna flip it over and do it from the other side for the edge there. So kind of hold it down. I think I might, I don't know if I want a pressing cloth. I'm gonna get something to press it with. I feel like it's smushing that down. Be back. All right, I have it stuck enough. It's coming up in places, but we're gonna be quilting it down. Don't worry about that stuff. It's gonna be fine. So I am gonna stitch 1/8 inch away from this seam on this side. That will hold that down. And I probably will come down and just do a little 1/8 inch seam again down over here, just to hold that side down when we put it together. But what I'm going to do right now is draw our 1.5 inch like quilting lines to quilt the felt to the fabric. That's why it didn't matter to be having it here. I have it lined up on my grid. I love having my grid mat. This one is 36 inches wide by, I think, 24. And I got it at Walmart. It was where you can find it the cheapest. So check that out. All right, so I'm gonna go 1.5 inches wide for each of my lines. I don't think I have to do more. And I'm using chalk. I was gonna use one of my Frixion pens, which comes away with the heat, but if this is left in a cold car, I think those Frixion lines are gonna show back up because I'm not washing it. So I'm gonna do every 1.5 inch line. You start to shift a little bit. It's gonna be absolutely fine though. Okay, and I'll go 1.5 here. And I'll do this all the way down. already I got my quilting lines done. I was almost ready to stop, and I went back and checked, and I was missing one of these in here. So I got that all done. Right now we're just going to trim it down. We want it to be 10.5 by 16.5. All right, I got to trim up all this extra batting and stuff. You need to use your scissor or a straight edge. I'm going to use my straight edge to get that done. We are ready to build this. So you're going to go get your little side slip-in pockets here, and make sure you know which is going on which side, and they're going to be going face down. So this one has to be over here, face down. I want the right sides to the front. Line that up along that edge, and then we want the right side here. Good, that's what I want. Have it face up because my leaves are going up. And that's going to go over here, and we're going to pin that, but we're not done. We're going to come up one more layer here. That one doesn't seem to be lining up right. I have to check on that. Hold on a second, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. It wasn't laying at 10.5, it was 11. I mean, it was 10 3/4. So there we go, we have that. All right, so those are in their face. That's what's going to be flipped out so that our pockets will be there. And then we're going to take the lining. Now, I was contemplating whether to save this beautiful piece and right side up, my leaves going up, but I'm just going to use it. It'll be done. Oh, but before I do need to add a ribbon. Wait a second, I want to add a ribbon here. Hold on, also this needs to be trimmed. It's too big. I didn't do that. So I need to make this 10.5 wide. So let me take care of that, and let me get my ribbon. All right, I got my ribbon. I trimmed it down. I didn't have to trim this way. This was fine. That was 16.5. It was that way, which was 11. All right, let's get our layers here. So we already have the panels on here like we want them. They're right side up. And we have this right here. And then the ribbon. So the ribbon, I want it to make sure that it is facing the lining with the shiny side. So I have to put it in like this. It'll flip over to that. So no, I have to put it in this way. All right. And I want it on this half because one of the things I was talking to my friend about, what she liked about it, was she goes, no, I like having that ribbon there. Because I was like, do you like the ribbon? What could I change? What can I do? And we do want it on, I didn't even do that right. So here's the halfway mark. So I kind of want it right about in here. So I'm just going to come right here and put that in there. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of tuck this in the pocket over here. It won't get sewn on. That way it will stay put. Let me put a little clip there so I know that's where I want that. Okay, now we are ready to sew. So we figured out where we're putting the ribbon. We have the sides lined up. And I gotta make sure this goes on the right way. It's gonna go this way. And we just build our sandwich. We're gonna finish our sandwich up. So go ahead, line everything up. Go ahead and pin it. You definitely want to pin or clip. I'm going to use both because I feel like when I use the clips, it tends to shift a little bit, and I don't want it to shift. We are going to be sewing all the way around this at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You need to create an opening to turn it. I'm going to do that at the bottom. I'm going to make mark there, and I'm going to do about 4 inches or 3.5 kind of in there, and this is going to be my no sew. That's my no sew line. So start here, back stitch, because you want to reinforce this because you're going to open it up to pull it through. Back stitch, 1/4 inch all the way around. Needle in, pivot, all the way around, and make sure you change your stitch length so it's like a 2.5. All right, I'll see you when you're done. Now I did have to readjust my pockets and make sure everything lined up on the opposite side as well before I take it over to the machine to sew. So double check that you have everything lined up nicely before you sew at your 1/4 inch. See that? All right, we've sewn all the way around. We've left ourselves an opening. We removed my pins that I did not take out. That's good. We need to trim our corners. So it's really important that we trim these corners before we flip it. So let's go ahead and get that done. All right, just be careful that you do not cut your threads or stitches of what you just sewed all the way around. Finish that up each corner. Right, corners are trimmed, and now we are going to flip it right side out. So go ahead carefully. You don't want to rip your threads at your opening, but you're going to need to get one of these back corners. Try to tuck that corner in like that, and go ahead and start pulling that one out. I'm going to let you kind of wrestle with yours, and I'll be back when mine is kind of out. Right, I'm at my last corner. I'm just going to try to poke that through because I like giving a head start. So I use my pokey tools. All right. Oh, my pockets. Oh, they're on the wrong side. You have to flip those. So don't forget to flip your pockets so the pretty side is out. So I'm going to do that. I'm grabbing each corner and flipping it out. Same thing over here. And this one as well. All right, and then you can take one of your turning tool sticks, and this is the one I like because it's broken down. And you can kind of sharpen up your corners there. You can go in through the opening to do those as well. But what I'm going to do really quick is I want to check and make sure this is going to fit right, because I might have to turn it back in so that I can get it a little tighter on my notebook, or I might decide it's going to be fine. So let's find out. Here we go, the moment of truth. I'm going to slide this one in over here. Okay, get that one in. Whoop. Like that. And now we have to do this side. You see me wrestling with it. Oh my gosh. So this, I am going to kind of, bear with me here. I'm going to flip it back a little bit. And this is what I love about composition notebooks. They're very durable. When I was teaching, I would make the kids have composition notebooks. I told them, so you don't rip pages out, but they're just going to last good. They're not going to come. So let me slide that in. There we go. All right, moment of truth. Moment of truth. Let's close it and see if we like how it fits. And I'm going to be happy with that. I'm going to be happy with it. I like the ribbon. The ribbon's in there nicely so people can put a bookmark in their journal where they left off. You can trim that down. If you want to trim your ribbon down, you can, but don't trim it too much. My friend liked it hanging out stuff, but I might make it a little bit shorter. All right, so that's going to be just fine. I like it. All right, so let's go ahead, pull this out. And we're going to give this a nice press. We'll finish poking out your corners, okay? A nice little press. It's one of my favorite prints. This print is from Hobby Lobby. So if you like it, I think they still might have it. They have a couple of nice prints there. So let's press it all nice. Get our little opening here. You can either stitch over this with your machine or you can hand stitch. I think I'm going to hand stitch it because when my friend was looking at hers and we were kind of studying it, she's like, how did you do this? And was like, oh, I hand stitched that. That's right, that's the top. Only an expert could see it. No, I'm not an expert, but it was nice. She couldn't find it. All right. So get that to lay nice. I'll come back to that. And we're going to see, I'm going to go to the other side here because I want these to come out a little bit more. I feel like they're a little, I want to work that seam out. So I might get my little pokey stick and work that seam out just to get it to go flatter. All right, but other than that, my measurements were good. This was the 4th time making one. And now I have a tutorial that my friend who loved it, she wanted me to make a tutorial so that she could sew some for her friends. And I just love that she's going to do that. I got her a sewing machine a couple of years ago and she's using it now that she's retired. All right, I'll be back.
Now that you know how to make these little journal covers that fit over composition notebooks, let's talk about making it into a gift. You can just take one, make sure you load it up with a composition notebook. Stock up on those, those are really cheap. And you can buy little pens to put in there or some nice fancy ones. You can put some little paper clips and bookmarks in there. You can put some Post-it notes. You can fill it with a little note of love on the inside. The possibilities are endless. Happy sewing.